Well, obviously, very happy with how the guys found a way in the second half to get it done. And when you're early in the season, there's always lessons that got to be learned, and we got a lot of lessons. And this is going to be a filling out process and a learning process for the guys because we got a lot of guys, individuals that have targets on their back, and when you're at UCLA and you start getting a lot of attention, those targets get even bigger. And I thought, hats off to CSUN. I thought they came in, they had a good game plan, they played very, very hard. It's the first time we've had to really play against intense pressure, and I didn't think we handled it very well for the most part. 20 turnovers is way too high for us. Our assist total got cranked up again in the second half, and we started making shots. We made our shots in the second half. But there are lessons to be learned that you're going to have halves where you don't make shots, and that was in the first half to where our habits defensively have got to continue to grow. And it is going to be, I think, a growing process defensively of just learning what we have to do and to be able to consistently do that over 40 minutes. So a lot of good lessons, but 7 guys in double figures, and I thought we did a great job on the backboard. First time playing 2 games in 3 days, and so there's a lot of lessons, a lot of tape, a lot of things we'll be able to get out of this with the guys.
Like maybe you try to attack the basket a little bit more in the second half?
Yeah, they were really overplaying, and so we talked about maybe less passing and more dribble driving when you play teams that like to extend and press and deny and pressure. That means there's no gaps. There's no helping gap, and not an overly big team. I don't think as far as rim protection. So we felt like that was a big concern going into the second half. Let's really, without our screening and really ball movement, let's move the ball a little bit, and if we get an angle to drive it, let's drive it. And we got some stops. The first 8 minutes of the second half, we got some stops, and we got our transition game going, and that loosened up some of that pressure.
There was so much success in that first game, shooting and otherwise. Maybe a little hangover from that, especially for the young guys?
Well, and we talked about that. We talked about, how did you prepare for this game any differently than what you did in the first game? Because did you prepare, hey, we just scored 119 and we're on SportsCenter everywhere and this and that. Did you prepare that way, or did you prepare the same way you did going into the Pacific game? And those are lessons you learn, and not just young players. Veterans continue to learn that as well. You look at Bryce and Isaac, 2 of our veterans, they were guarded differently tonight than what they were against Pacific. So you got to be prepared for that. And I think you go into every game. If I'm Isaac and Bryce, I know I'm getting the defense's best guy. I'm going to be first on their page of scouting as far as how we're going to be defended. So you take that as that's very respectful. But when you prepare, it's got to be, hey, I got to be on point of how I'm going to have to cut, how I'm going to have to screen, how I'm going to have to move to get myself open. And I didn't think we did that across the board in the first half. The second half was much better.
Coach, what did you think? Lonzo Ball to start that second half, obviously you guys trailed in those 2 plays he made, that 3-pointer and that dunk. Just sort of the mindset from him.
Well, and you're right. The end of that was right. That's the mindset. That's the mindset we got to have. I don't know if he or any of our other guys had that mindset to start the game, and that's kind of the lesson you learn, is that you're not just going to go from one game to the next and score 119 again and win by close to 40. It doesn't work that way. But these are all learning things, and we'll get it. And these are great teaching points for us. But, yeah, how he started the second game, he was a heavyweight fighter ready to knock you out. How we started the first half, we wanted to rope-a-dope. And we don't have anybody in our locker room that's Muhammad Ali. They don't understand the rope-a-dope. They're too young. So we wanted to come out throwing punches first and early, and I didn't think we did that tonight. But again, it's not necessarily their fault. It's a learning process, and it's getting. If they'll take this in and get better, then I think we've talked to them before. We are a good team now. We have a chance to be a great team, and that's what we're building towards. We're trying to go from good to great, and there will be some teams that have the opportunity to do that. I think we're one of them. But doesn't mean we're going to get there. There's a lot of work that has to go into it, and the guys, I think, will put in the work because I have great guys. They are tremendous young men that want to get better, and these are experiences they have to go through to kind of see what we're talking about. as coaches.
Coach, there was some over here. There was some foul trouble again tonight after Friday night.
Yes.
Do you think that's part of learning the defense, or is that something you're concerned about moving on?
Well, I think it's a concern because I know how college basketball is. If you look at the box scores over just the first weekend, regardless of where the games are played, you're seeing a lot of fouls called. You're seeing the average number of fouls are probably above 50 that are being called. And at the end of last year, there weren't 50 calls. And it's just what happens. It's early in the season. I think officials are getting back into it. Players are getting back into it. Coaches are getting back into it. And so I think, naturally have a lot of fouls that are called and fouls that happen early in the season because officials are trying to clean things up. Coaches are preaching that to players, and now players will adjust, and that's what you'll see. You'll see, I think, good players will end up adjusting by the time you get into December. But these early games, there's a lot of fouls. Thankfully, we're a very good foul shooting team, and we got there 39 times tonight. I thought that was a big difference. We beat them 31-16 at the line. So, but when we're depleted right now, fouls are an issue because we don't have our depth. We hope we get EK back. Hopefully, whether it's Long Beach or the Anaheim tournament, we're hoping to get him back in the next 10 days. That will help. Alex, we don't know when he's going to be back. It could be 2 to 4 weeks before we get him back. So Prince is still probably somewhere in December. So we're depleted until we start getting some of these guys back. But we know we want to play four guards some, and we were able to do that tonight with a lot of success, especially in the second half. And we got them in foul trouble. I thought we were in foul trouble in the first half. We kind of turned that page in the second half.
Coach, Gigi fouled out after playing only 6 minutes on Friday. What did he bring to the floor tonight?
I thought he was tremendous, and that's what we've been seeing Gigi do all summer, starting back from last summer. And obviously he got hurt last year, and that slowed his progress. And then I thought the first game, it was just whether it was jitters, anxiousness, nerves, he hadn't played in a while. And he was really kind of out of character to where he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he got in foul trouble. Tonight he got in a little bit of foul trouble, but he gave us a tremendous boost, 12 and 8, 3 blocks, steal, 2 assists. I mean, he did an awful lot in 15 minutes of play, and that's what we've been seeing out of him in practice. And his development's going to be key for us because having somebody like he and TJ to rotate in that stretch 4 spot, and we can play Gigi at 5 some, and you saw us do that with EK being out. So I thought tonight he was tremendous.
You brought in another player today, this one from Indiana. How much did the Indiana connection there help with Chris?
Well, hopefully a lot, but that's never easy pulling somebody from the Midwest. And but everywhere I've been, Manchester obviously is in Indiana, but I started my career at Manchester. I went to Southwest Missouri State, now Missouri State, University of Iowa, University of New Mexico, and now UCLA. I've had an Indiana kid each of those stops. And those Indiana kids have been very special, and they've had a lot to do with our successes at those stops. And I think Chris has a chance to do those same things. He gives us something that we desperately need. We need a big guard. We're obviously going to lose a lot of our backcourt, so that's being corrected through recruiting. But to get a guy 6'8" with length that can score, he's a potential 2,000-point scorer in Indiana. He's a leading candidate for Mr. Basketball in that state. So I told him in recruiting, I need that Indiana kid because I haven't got that at UCLA yet. And I need somebody that we'll have a lot in common because I told him we'll be in that Mr. Basketball club and we'll have a lot to talk about.
Isaac had a pretty efficient night tonight. How has he grown from last season to this season?
Very much. And Isaac is one of those guys. And if I really got on Isaac or Bryce a little bit at halftime or after the game, I just need them to be more vocal, whether it's in their personality or not, because we're a fairly quiet team. We're great guys. We're just quiet, and I need somebody, to rile them up a little bit. And so, but I thought Isaac was really good. He was very efficient offensively. He did a lot of good things for us. He kept us in the game. With some key makes in the first half, and then I thought in the second half he got going.